So glucose testing. Okay, that means here glucose is what? Glucose is sugar, and it is the source of what? Energy. Okay, so what is the name of the source of energy that our cells produce or our body uses? Huh?
Carbohydrate.
No, what's the source is carbohydrate. What is the name of the energy? It's called ATP. ATP. ATP means adenosine triphosphate. Okay, it means, let's say you have glucose. Glucose will break down into what? ATP. That means, okay, when glucose is being broken down, then you will get ATP, or ATP is generated. Okay, so there are different steps in this case, that how the breaking of glucose is taking place. It's taking place with the process called glycolysis, and another is what we call citric acid cycle or Krebs cycle. Another is what we call ETS, or the electron transport system, which is called oxidative phosphorylation. Oxidative phosphorylation. These are the different steps how the glucose is broken down. You see, there is glucose. If I show you these steps, okay, it's like this. It's a lot of steps like this. Are you see? It's too much. Let me see this one. Look here. Okay, the glucose is get into, and with glycolysis is broken down to this pyruvate, and then it gets into this, and then ATP is produced throughout the way. It's a lot of like steps, and in biochemistry it's a lot of like stepwise reaction. It's like this. This is glycolysis, this is Krebs cycle, then we have oxidative phosphorylation. Glycolysis, Krebs cycle, and ETS, or oxidative phosphorylation. These three steps are the ones that are very important for the production of ATP. So that's what we mean primary energy source. The energy is ATP. Okay? So if there is a high blood in glucose, there is a risk of what? Huh? Yes. How do you call a high level of blood glucose? If there is a high glucose level in the blood, it's called what? Hyper. Okay. Hyperglycemia. Hyperglycemia. Okay. If it is small, hyper. Okay. So usually blood test is being done by fasting. So a patient should fast how many hours?
8 hours.
Yes, 8 hours. Usually 8 to 12 hours. So depending on the facility and the test area. Okay, you can take one of these. One of an important testing method is what we call the oral glucose tolerance test. Oral glucose tolerance test, which is called OGTT. Usually this is called oral glucose tolerance test. That means this is checking if your body is tolerating the glucose. Okay? This is usually done to check what? It's usually used for what? For pregnancy. So that's used for what we call gestational diabetes mellitus, GDM. Gestational diabetes mellitus. Gestational diabetes mellitus, okay? So what do you do in this case? If the blood sugar is above 200, or if the patient blood sugar is above 200, you don't need to give that. Okay, because if you add that, then you make it more trouble, yes? So that means above 200 means it's already, the diabetes is there. But if it is less than 200, so you want to challenge the body cells if they can tolerate that glucose. So what do? You give the pregnant woman what? A sort of what? Glucose, and then she will take it. Okay? So within how many minutes she need to finish it? 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes, and she don't need to vomit, so she has to take it. And then every time, like every 30 minutes, the first one, then 1 hour, then 2 hours, then every 3 hours, you check what? The blood sugar. Okay, and that is why it's called a 3-hour blood glucose tolerance test. 3 hours, that means you will check up to like 3 hours time. The first 30 minutes, then first hour, second, third, and then you will see during all those time how the body handles that glucose, how much is the, okay? So that is what we call as the oral glucose tolerance test.